Welcome to Turn Extension, a supplemental podcast for the Advanced Maneuvers YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Turn Extension. My name is Tony, or Polar Bear Cub on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin Dowdark on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Cutthroat here on the forums, Devin.
Alright.
I don't know why I keep doing that.
I don't know, you keep messing up your name. Maybe you are becoming the Cutthroat.
I am.
Alright, so we are coming to you 2 weeks afterwards, so we've had our Christmas, and then we also had some New Year's, and now we're back to start off 2017 on the right foot. So what do we want to start off with first, guys? We want to talk about this picture that we just saw?
Yeah.
So I am posting it on the Advanced Maneuvers Facebook page, so people can see it, but they won't see it until Tuesday when this releases, so hopefully anybody who listens to us will see it anyways, but we should definitely put a link to it in the details below for the podcast.
Yeah, so just as a point of time reference, we've gotten our hands on this picture 2 minutes before Polar Bear Cub hit record on the button, so you're getting our initial reactions to this picture. All right, so in one word, starting with Polar Bear Cub, in one word, what would you describe this figure in the picture? How would you describe this figure?
So I'm going with my initial thing. He looks like a turnip. That is definitely roots for hands.
So I'm going with gun mage.
What about you, Cut?
I'm going to go with like a spider-like spider gun mage, because if you really look at it, he's got like tentacle hands, and then two guns coming out of the inside, which to me says that he has more than one set of hands. And then if you look at his body, it's like a bulbous and shaped kind of like a elongated egg. And then he has what looks like 1, 2 on his right side of his body. He's got like different tentacle legs, and then a bunch of eyes on what we assume is the back of his head, and then a crazy mask.
Yeah, so he's wearing a trench coat and a truffle hat, and he's got two guns, which is what made me immediately think of gun mages. That and the fact of quote-unquote Year of the Gun Mages. And the image has, so where his hands would be coming out of the trench coat, he's got what looks like either roots, which is, I believe, what led Polar Bear to the concept of turnip, or they are the ends of spider pincers, but the angle of the arms makes that really weird. Inside his cloak, you see that bulbous egg, and then you can see what looks like a spindly leg coming off of the bottom, like a right leg. So, I mean, it's entirely possible that it's this, like, spider creature. It's got a mask from the nose and mouth style mask that on its face, so this, and there's a quote on it which reads, "Then to the banquet table creeps a guest to judge the host, broad hat and cloak to hide its frame, a scourge to those who boast." So from a lore perspective, I'm assuming this is some sort of like sin hunter who's basically come to go after people who are magnanimous or boastful about themselves. But it shows a picture of the back of its head, and the back of its head there's a bunch, it looks like either holes or a bunch of eyes as well.
Do you think this is the model that they're going to put out at SmallCon?
It could be.
That would be kind of fucking awesome.
If this is a solo type, then they could get away with a alternate sculpt solo so that you could have two of these and they look different from each other if you've got the SmallCon old sculpt. The other theory is that this, because it's a gun mage, is this like a Kane-esque warlock for the new faction?
They definitely said for the SmallCon exclusive, I'm almost 100% sure it's going to be a war beast.
Really? A war beast? Okay.
Yeah.
What if this is a war beast? What this is what their war beasts look like?
That doesn't look like a war beast.
You don't look like a war beast.
He doesn't look like a war beast, which is why he isn't one.
Yeah.
But
not enough pumpkins.
Fucking excited for this faction. I don't even know what it is. I just want it. I want it in the worst way possible.
So me and Gaston actually had a conversation about this because I've been in a little bit of a faction slump lately where I just don't feel like, and not lately, pretty much my entire Warmachine career, where I just don't feel like any faction is the one I want to go to. And I've been hoping that, like, the Convergence aesthetics is bad. What was that gasp?
You know what that gasp is.
Convergence as a faction is bad.
You suck it up.
From an aesthetic standpoint, I've always kind of been the bad guy. You know, in other games, I always go for the bad guys or the scary things or whatever, stuff like that. Which, you know, I've always had to lean toward Crix for that, to the point where I've even been converting my Khador to be Crix. And then there's these rumors about this new spider sort of sin pumpkin man horror style faction, and I'm like, cool, I might actually be able to get this like horror demon-esque sort of fear faction going on. And I was talking with Gaston, and from a playstyle perspective, I like to play potatoes, or at least that's how he phrased it. I like to play the ability of just kind of getting punched in the face, taking it in the face and going, nope, I'm still here, I'm still in the zone, fuck off. That's kind of what led me to Khador. That's kind of what led me to Trolls. And from a lore perspective, Grimkin is just more of this strike from the shadows type. So does that mean that we're going to get another strike from the shadows, aka Circle, aka Legion, Hordes faction? Or are we going to actually get a playstyle that doesn't necessarily exist or play to this day?
My thoughts on that is I don't see this being from the shadows. Maybe some of it. I really see this being as a very mixed bag of stuff, because, I mean, for the war beasts that we've seen, or at least the kind of stuff we've seen, these giant pumpkin people, then now we have this image of a basically turn-up or spider gun mage who looks like he's being very sly, very secretive, especially with the mask.
Yeah, and that's just what's getting me really excited about, because we are seeing a huge variety of this faction so far. Like, first, we were only seeing the pumpkin monsters. It almost looked like it was just a very Halloween theme, which sucked because it wasn't coming out until June, and it felt like it was going to be very not exciting most of the time. But now we're seeing this really slick-looking gun-made style fucking spider monkey thing. Like, I'm very, very excited to see this faction, and I am more excited in the fact that we are going to be able to playtest this faction come March, before they actually come out in June, so we can already see what the faction does, so people can really decide then if they're going to want to buy into this faction even before June comes around, because we can at least get a hint of these rules.
Yeah, and that actually makes me wonder if that's not going to turn around and bite PP in the butt on that one. Obviously, we're not going to get the entire rule set. We're not going to get every single monster. That's just not how playtesting works. But we will get a big enough chunk that we'll be able to make a decision around, is this what we want to do? And, is this a faction we want to play? But could that hurt? Like, as an example, when Convergence came out, people were buying Convergence models left and right. Whole armies were being purchased.
Okay.
How many of them are still around playing Convergence?
I think the issue with that, though, is that people stopped playing Convergence because they bought into the faction, they were playing it, and they got bored because nothing else was coming out. Not because that they weren't excited about the models, because they were in a limited release at Lock and Load. You could only get a handful of models. Because I remember Faulty from the forums, Mod Faulty. I gave him as much money as I possibly could for him to pick up the models, not knowing anything about the faction at all. But I ended up playing it, and a lot of people got into it because initially it looked like a lot of fun to play. I think the issue with Convergence, and it's going to be the issue with this faction as well, is that it's going to be a limited release. So there's going to be, like, we've gotten our stuff. The last model that came out, besides I guess technically we did get a Colossal for Lock and Load. But before that, we didn't have another model for 2+ years.
Well, speaking of Mod Faulty, I actually was just speaking to him about this topic, actually, 10 seconds ago while we're casting, and he was telling me that there's an actual group of people, and I'm trying to get the information about it, that they've actually found, we saw the video that had the reversed audio.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the people have actually found in the insiders sentences and stuff that are actually Morse code messages that new faction,
Oh, you gotta
and
be kidding
hidden
me.
PML that is hidden in the insiders, and I'm trying to get where we can find a.
So that's interesting because I remember finding that one time before when Converge was coming out. I was on the Privateer Press site and I was reading one of the insiders, and at least on the iPhone you could turn it to where it's a you hit like the top right corner where it just turns to like a word format instead of seeing the entire screen, and then I found a secret text all about the corollary right in there. I wonder if they're doing that again.
Which that's amazing.
They've been doing that from the start. They have a not Twitter, a Tumblr campaign that's going on where they regularly put out videos, or not videos, but pictures with little poetic, statements to them, and somewhere in those pictures is information that leads to more information about the content. And you'll see on their Tumblr they have a kind of a running video where names will be scribbled down on a list, and I believe those are the names, and I could be horribly wrong here, so take this with a pinch of salt, but I believe the names that are being scribbled down are the individuals who managed to decipher everything and get to wherever the end goal of that Tumblr campaign is, and their name gets immortalized as a sin person in this campaign.
So the only reason why I'm going to say no to that is one of the people was actually Andrew Bailey, which is faulty, and he said it was for some pumpkin contest he did.
So here's something cool.
Privateer Press's website is also down. If you guys have been on it, nothing's showing on the screen except for the side corners.
On the Tumblr right now, and there is some creepy stuff in some of their posts. So I'm looking at their posts where they actually have a doll's face that's broken up and it has purple eyes, and it says, "Hush, darling baby, father sits near. He shall protect thee. There's naught to fear. The clouds loom over the eaves. The watchers spare the child who believes." And the hashtag is, "Will you be immortalized?"
Oh, that's horrifying.
They definitely are embracing the kind of spooky horror, nature of the thing, which is great for a campaign, and it makes for interesting stories. I just don't know if it carries well to the table. I guess we'll have to see.
And this thing is, I wonder how much it will carry to the table, but I'm excited that they're doing this because it is kind of creepy. I don't get on Tumblr very much at all, and I'm a little sad now that I'm not, because there is, you're right, there's a lot of stuff on here.
I'm literally looking at here, and I am counting at least 10. Like every other one, like since we saw the video where you played it backwards and the names got scribbled down, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, there is 7 of these riddles, and some of the words are italicized, some of the words aren't. So I'm really curious to see what some of this lines up. So I'm really excited about that.
That is pretty awesome. I want to find this group as well so we can start looking into that more. It really is it's like an ARG at this point. Do you guys know what an ARG is?
Yeah, that's kind of the concept of it is just
Yep.
an ARG.
That's really what it feels like. That is so cool. I need to start getting more into this. I've got nothing to do at night except for run a building. I need to start doing this more.
Yeah, I'm definitely reading through where people are putting together all of the compilation of clues and riddles. So
is it on the? Are you talking to one on the forums where it's?
This one's on Reddit. This is on Reddit.
I've never fucking gone on Reddit.
There's also a running, I think it kind of got overtaken by PP staff who were I know Will Hungerford was doing a bunch where he's like, everything's okay, everything's fine, everything's dandy, and everybody's like, that's not Will Hungerford anymore. The PP staff are just running with it. But at one point in time, there was a post, it had a title in it like Dark Peasants or something like that, where they were kind of this is our spoiler thread for what's going on. And I think they got a little too spoilery, which is why the PP staff were like, we're going to take over, we're going to hijack your thread and turn it into a marketing campaign.
Interesting. Because I know there's one that says, let's see, spoilers, time to suss out this ARG. And people are posting on it again today, so I'm not sure what's been So the last post was probably about 20 minutes ago.
This is a lot of the stuff's definitely interesting.
I mean, it's
Wonder
definitely
what.
from a person who did marketing and stuff like that. Like, I definitely see the interest that it's causing, and it's definitely stirring up a hype for it. I think people have mentioned this before elsewhere. I'm concerned it's taking too long. Like, you have
I found out where they found out
individuals-
the picture. Okay, interesting. It's on the time to suss out this ARG. Pretty much, someone found a password, and then within one of these showing threads embedded, it has the picture, and it says this album is password protected, and then someone got the password for it. It was from the Scorn Insider.
That's fucking awesome. I can
Is,
see where you're coming
super
from, Kevin.
intense.
Awesome, I have to say, and it's something we discussed before, is that one of our major complaints about Mark III was the fact that a lot of people felt that it was rushed. I am really happy to see them taking their time because, to pick up this faction, probably not. It wasn't a big goal of mine, but at this point, I am 100% going to grab this at lock and load.
It's not, but see, the issue is that it's not. I'm not saying that they need to hurry up. When you're dealing with a timetable, you have 2 points in the timetable in which you can change. You can change the end and cause it to be hurried up and rushed and produce a bad product, or you change your begin date. You set a preset design and you change your begin date to a more appropriate. We have been going through a quote-unquote hype train for this new faction for the better part of a year, going on a year plus here soon. That's too long. Like, they shouldn't have done it this soon.
Wait, hold on. I missed part of this conversation. I'm sorry. I was looking at online.
Easily distracted.
I was easily distracted. So you're saying that you're mad that this new faction's coming out so soon?
No, I think the frustration that people are experiencing, I'm not mad about this new faction. I'm still hoping that I can get into this new faction. I think the frustration, and people are voicing it, is that the hype train has been running too long. It left the station too early.
Okay. All right.
They
Yeah,
shouldn't have
because
started the hype campaign until October. Like, make it a Halloween. Like, the Halloween was the first time we ever heard about this new faction.
right.
Not February last year.
And I would agree with you because when they brought out Convergence, they talked about it at not SmogCon. It was at TempleCon in February, and then the faction came out in June. So it was a 4-month wait period. That was a really good amount of time to be able to get super excited about it. This has taken a while. I do agree with you on that.
So I'm not faulting their hype campaign. I think their hype campaign is working great. The issue that I foresee is that I think they started it too early, and I think it may bite them in the butt in the process. Matter of fact, I know it's already going to bite them in the butt. There are people who are getting frustrated with it.
Oh man, this is kind of cool.
Are you scrolling through the forums?
I started at the very end, but
So I want to take a moment. We're getting all ooh gaga over this new faction. That's all well and good, but scrolling through websites makes a horrible podcast.
it really does. Sorry.
Let's talk about on a similar vein of hype train and stuff like that. Let's talk about the concept of privateer press and their side projects. And by side projects, I'm talking about High Command or Monster Apocalypse or Zombies Keep Out or Level 7. The newest one that's kind of hit the market that seems to be causing a bit of a divisiveness in the community is Grind, the up-and-coming rules that will be released in the January no quarter.
Well,
This used to be a board game, and now it's going to be a tabletop version.
Well, even before the board game back in Mark 1, it was a game as well. You played with your Warcaster. I think it was Battlebox Warcasters, and there was like 2 casters per faction. So I think it was like Haley for a Signar, it was like Haley and Striker could play, and they had special like spells that they could use for their jacks. So it was you play with your models. Mark 2 became a board game, and now it's going back to playing with your models. But it looks like they're doing a different thing with them model-wise. Because that grind ball's been around for a long time.
Yeah, like 2006 or 2007, I think.
Yeah, so I know grind's been around for a while. It seems to come out every time they come out with a new new mark, I guess, a new edition. They've revived grind,
Which a lot of people seem to be there's a couple different ones. There's one group who's excited about grind. I think I probably fall more into the excited about grind because it's different. Like, it's something I can do with the models I already own, but yet something that's not necessarily just a Warmachine game. Hopefully it's a faster game. That would be cool if it was a bit faster than a normal game.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people seem to be frustrated with, if I were to put on my salty armchair general hat on real quick, GGPP, way to waste your time on a stupid side game when you can't even get an errata out that's, completely finished. I'm still waiting on my theme forces. Mark III still sucks. You still have playtesting. Why are you wasting time on grind? And to some extent, there's some truth behind that statement. Like, obviously, you have to separate out employee bandwidth in order to support this effort. So is that necessarily a flaw of PP to be doing these side projects?
I don't think it's that big of a flaw for them to be doing these side projects. I mean, I think it's just I'm one of those people where I'd like them to focus a lot on the game, but doing these side things, it's not horrible because it's probably not really taking that much of time. If right now they're on a path where they're going to bring out a new side game every 2 months for the next year, at least for the next year. So that's 6 new side games that are going to come out. We know that grinds this. In March, it's called like WW Colossal or something like that. It's Wrestling with Colossals. So to me, it sounds like these are like fun games you can play where it probably didn't take a whole hell of a lot of play testing involved because they're not really balanced for they're probably not balanced for competitive play for the long haul. And at least with grind, they're probably rehashing rules from the last 2 expansions, and they're just kind of tweaking it up a little bit. I don't think it's taking as much effort as people think that it is taking.
So, but it's taking some effort. So, as an example,
it's going to take some effort. Everything's going to take some effort for them to do.
If you have 2 employees, if you only devote 2 employees to a side game, mm-hmm. and then each of those employees spends, I'm going to be extremely, restricted here, 20 hours to work on it. So that's 40 man hours. That's basically a week's worth of man hours to produce even just a shit crap. It's not going to work. It's not balanced. It's not focused, but it's something game.
Okay.
40 hours that could have been put into playtesting or writing the errata or doing something for the main game.
But what I wonder is how long, 40 hours over what time frame? Because I think 40 hours over a 2-week period is a lot different than 48 hours over a 2-month period. It's 40 hours over a 2-month period. That's an hour or 2 every once in a while where you're just sitting down. It could even be literally, hey, this is our break, or these are after hours. We're having fun. Hey, let's fucking play with this game. Hey, we can actually probably do something with this. Let's spend a little bit more time doing it, but just as a side project.
It's still hours, though. It's still hours spent.
It's hours spent, but I feel like over a long period of time, it's more diluted in the grand scheme of things. I don't feel like it's as bad as if it was like, hey, dude, this thing is extremely broken. Like, we have to fix this now. Oh, wait, hold on, guys. I really got to focus this entire week on my grind.
Something I thought was funny is that a fellow troll player, Big Cave Monster, actually came to me last night, and we were talking in a personal chat, and he actually about grind, and he actually mentioned to me that this last week he had gone into his local Ollie's, which is like a budget retail store, and they had all of the old copies of grind there on discount.
Really? That's
yeah,
funny,
at this Ollie's in North Carolina.
I feel like when it came out as a board game, it did not do well at all. I remember when we got it at our game store at Gamefall, the store owner, Kathy, ordered it, got it in. I think she got 7 copies in, and I think maybe 1 sold. And I never saw it or played there. It was a letdown. But I don't know. I feel like that's why, though, that they're coming out with it this way. Let's put it on the no quarter. We'll beef up the no quarter, and then we're putting it out. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's as horrible because also let's talk about right now. As far as we know, Theme Forces are completely done. If they're talking about that's going to come out next week. That's what Hungerford posted. That he said they're hoping it's out next week, which means that they've already done everything they could for it. It's literally just going through proofreading and legal, and they're making sure that any images they need to put in are getting put in. So during those small downtimes, and I guarantee it's the same thing probably with Scorn. Scorn's probably already completed. They're just going through and proofreading it. So that's nothing that the game designers have to do at this point. So why not have them work on some other fun things?
Hey bro, I hear there's a new Hordes faction that's coming out that needs to be worked on.
Yeah, but we don't know what stages it's in. And besides, if you're focusing on one thing the entire time, you're going to get burned out. If anything, this could be just a stress relief for them, where it's making their minds run through different things.
Not to mention, one of the earlier comments you said, Kevin, was that, one of the things I do agree with you is that they did release information about the new faction a little too early. I think you were right. You hit the head when you said they should have started right around Halloween and started really pegging it up and throwing out a lot of hints and stuff. So I don't think they need probably as much help on this new faction, but I do have to agree that much of a person for side games, and I think it's a huge downfall because they're putting resources and money and capital into something that let's be 100% honest, has never been something that's been successful. So let's look at GW, and they always seem to come up in our podcasts. You look at you look at way back in the day, and all these people have these nostalgic feelings about Necromunda or Blood Bowl or Space Hulk. And
what's that one that they have that with the small skirmishes? Mordheim, right?
Mordheim. Correct, yeah. So Necromunda was 40K version, Mordheim was fantasy version.
Oh, okay, my bad.
But all these people have these really nostalgic feelings about this. So when Games Workshop discontinued providing that, a lot of these people came out of the woodwork saying, man, this is what we really want to see. And so therefore, since re-releasing their specialty games, they've been super, super productive, and they've been awesome. Flip this over to Privateer Press. I cannot tell you a single person I've ever spoken to of my life that has ever said to me, man, I remember the days of playing Grind, and so I definitely think that they're trying to jump on a bandwagon because a lot of businesses are putting out these specialty games, but it's actually showing a ton of success, especially when it comes to their end of quarter, statements, is Games Workshop.
That's a good point. That's actually one I can't really argue with. I think you're right. Now, on the other hand, I do feel like if Privateer Press came with a small skirmish game, like the Mordheim and stuff like that, that would be so fucking awesome. That would be one I totally want to play, huh?
Like Rumble?
No, because this is like a campaign. It'd be more like how their leagues are, like a campaign style, where you have a select group of people, and after each time you play, they get increased experience and stuff like that, and you can level them up.
So you're saying that they already do this with the leagues, which people...
But that's on a broader scale. I want to see it kind of more a small scale, level up thing where you could spend those experience like that. I think that'd be cool to see. But who knows? They might do that. They have a whole year to wow us on what they're going to do.
I guess I just look at it as they have the Iron Kingdom role-playing game and they have Undercity, and both of that do exactly that.
I guess I didn't think about Undercity.
I'm going to hop on my soapbox here right quick. If Privateer Press seriously wanted to create something that was a side effort that they were willing to support and willing to make a new line or something like that, because another side project that came out just recently that they were all gung-ho for, we're going to make this happen, it's going to be a thing, we're going to have expansions come out and all that stuff, is High Command. High Command came out and they were pushing it, and they were pushing it hard.
Yeah, they really did push it hard.
And it was going to be the next big thing. It was going to be their next market breaker. They were looking at the market. They said there's a lot of this thing going on with these not TCGs, but card building, deck games and stuff like that. We are going to get on this market hard, and we're going to turn around and make a huge profit out of it. And High Command failed horribly. If they are looking to create reach into a new market, to pull in more people, to get more PPites out of the rest of the wargaming communities, they need to come up with a sci-fi game. When Level 7 was announced, everybody's first reaction was, holy shit, we're going to get a sci-fi version of Warmachine and Hordes. And everybody's all gung-ho for it. And then they found out it was a board game, and everybody's interest immediately dropped. There's an interest there for it, and I do not know why Privateer Press doesn't want to jump on it.
I think because they would have to, honestly, I think the issue is that because then they are directly competing in a market that includes both Infinity and 40K and 30K. And I think, and yes, they're major competitors in different game styles, but it's one of those things where it's like, fits into a very select, niche that, for the fantasy. It's not exactly Warhammer Fantasy, and it's not exactly, Kings of War, but it kind of fits in the middle. But it gives you that, skirmish feel, where very skirmish-wise, and 40K is very army-wise, I kind of feel like already compete with them in their current market, stepping into their, genre, I think would be kind of a downplay. Don't throw your once for a sci-fi game that you can play, Kevin, onto P3's lap, okay? You got to find that for yourself. But, other than that, there's a lot of things. I will say that I actually, this week, with my friend Nablis, I actually got to try Undercity, which is one of their specialty games, for the first time. And I found it extremely enjoyable and a lot of fun, and I would be more excited. I guess my biggest concern is I wish they would just focus on the stuff they already have out now and push it along further. Something I want to see in No Quarters, show me some new scenarios, show me some new storylines, show me some new stuff for Undercity, and put that in the next No Quarter.
Show me the money.
Exactly, because I've gotten, I don't play the Iron Kingdoms role-playing game currently, but I do have a very large collection of all the information that comes in it, and so something I would like to see is maybe in the next, put in a new chapter or a new mission for the Undercity board game, because you can only play the current, chapters so many times, and even though they just came out with the expansion for it, you're going to run out of those after a bit. So, I just would like to see more focus. Sometimes I feel Privateer Press's biggest downplay is that they spread themselves too thin. They try to be too diverse, and they never specialize in any of their specialists' games.
Like I said, they throw it out there, and then they kind of just let's see what happens.
I agree with you guys on High Command. I bought High Command when it first came out, was really excited, waited for some people to pick it up, and then next thing I know is it's gone.
I took it a step further. I was excited for High Command. I went out, I got High Command, I got all the expansions, and I basically divvied out every single faction amongst the Advanced Maneuvers crew so that every member of the Advanced Maneuvers crew had a faction to play. How many times have you seen High Command on the channel?
Did we even play it once on the channel?
Nope.
Oh.
There were dreams, there was wishes, there was hopes, there was thing. We had overlays set up and everything, and it died.
Hey, you know what? But
Something
we're going to do grind, assuming Pokey builds a table.
Something I do think we should do, and I think this would be fun, and I could definitely talk to Nablis about it. I think we should get a few people, and we could even bring in different players, but I think we should play some of the chapters of Undercity.
I would love that. I got Undercity when it first came out. I have yet to open it up yet, and it makes me sad because I really wanted to play that.
So how about those that painted hordes version one? The had a bunch of pigs in it and stuff like that.
See, that was another one. I wanted to run us through the an IKRPG with the Hordes one, the Unleashed. We never got to do that, but Kevin did really paint them very beautifully, which I appreciate, Kevin. I appreciate it so much. And you know what? You know, I was so excited about that little bundle box because my name was in it as a playtester, right underneath DC.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool. I got to I actually got the GM it at Gen Con when it first came out. Before it actually came out, before they released it. So my name is actually a playtester, just in that little, just in a little box, not in the actual.
Did either of you guys back Widower's Wood?
No, I didn't. I'm really bad about backing stuff. I've only backed one thing on Kickstarter, and that was the tactics.
So back around there.
So we have a reoccurring thing here. We have this scenario where PP produces time and effort for sidelong projects, and to what end? Like, has any of them ever really taken off?
I think, I mean Iron Kingdoms, but IKRPG also, I believe, they had started before Warmachine was even a thing, or probably at the same time. I think it was before Warmachine was a thing.
Yeah, Warmachine as a result of, oh crap, what the hell's his name?
The Witchfire trilogy, right?
Wilson. Yeah, because of the Witchfire. Like,
see, that was their specialty thing, and it's taken off very well then, Kevin. All right, Warmachine and Hordes taken off very well.
You're true. If you want to look at Warmachine and Hordes as their side project, that is the one side project that they managed to get off the ground.
Yeah, get out of here, Kevin.
I guess my thing is as I said, we keep having these games, and Undercity is probably the one, in my opinion, that I feel has gone the farthest. Because they even came out with that Bodger game. Do you remember that? Like Keep Out.
Yeah, the ZKO, Zombies Keep Out.
Yeah, and I never see that anymore. And it's just like, you know, I really feel like if you're going to have a release schedule stuff, like do what you're doing in Warmachine and Hordes, you know, have a release schedule, put something out at least once a year, and then move along. And I feel that we need to see more,
I think so this is where I think another one of the issues is that because they're a small company, I think they still lose talent a lot. And whenever they lose talent, if someone was one of the ones who actually made that game, like for instance, like ZKO, I believe that was a love child of DC. If DC solely
wasn't High Command as well.
High Command, I think, was DC and Will Schick.
Okay.
But I do think DC took a huge part in it. But DC really did a lot of ZKO. Like I think he did majority of ZKO. And then now with him not being with the company anymore, they came out with the one expansion. They had ZKO, and then they had one expansion for it. And I don't know if anyone will take up that mantle again for it because they're so small of a company. I don't think there's enough people working on it to where someone else could step up to be a project manager.
So the other scenario that we're going to run into, and it's... All right, so I want to play the other flip side of the coin, which is, say Privateer Press goes, you know what, guys? You're right. We're not going to do any of these side projects. We are going to focus solely on Warmachine and Hordes and all that stuff. Is the community ready for Privateer Press to go dark on anything new for a year to a year and a half at a time? I mean, that's really what these side games are. Grind is not being designed to take over Warmachine and Hordes. Grind is being designed to distract us until the next expansion.
I think it's
have enough IPs. I think they have enough IPs in place currently as it stands that there would be no dark. You know, they could say, hey guys, we're going to take a break from Warmachine and Hordes or this, and then focus on Undercity or Widower's Wood or something else.
Yeah, but if we're saying we don't want them to focus on their side projects, and Undercity and Widower's Wood are side projects, I don't think they'd ever stop focusing on IKRPG. That one's going to always exist. If that doesn't, I mean, basically you're looking at 3 IPs, and can they carry 3 IPs and maintain community interest? Like a lot of people are upset about you're not focusing on the game that I want, and it becomes a very me-centric focus where it's like, well, I want you to focus on Warmachine and Hordes, and you could probably get a bunch of people to agree with you and get a small mass of people. then at the same flip side, you're going to have other people who are like, I actually like grind and I want to play grind. Thank you for creating this. So is PP necessarily doing the wrong thing by creating grind? They are taking care of a portion of their community. It may not be your portion, but they are taking care of a portion of the community.
I do enjoy that they are releasing it in no quarter, so therefore it's not a whole new board game, so they're not putting a lot of time into creating a new box set or something like that.
Right, they're not losing as much money.
I just feel like, in my opinion, when it comes to their games, I just feel, especially with their new announcement about using the community to do the new play testing, basically, or open testing, that I don't think we're going to have that much of an issue. I think that we're going to always have I hope that we have an open dialogue between us and Privateer Press working on new stuff. I think that having these fun little side games are, a lot of fun. I miss actually the little scenarios that they had in no quarter there for a bit that you could kind of participate and do, like they did the one about the wall and it included the full story, Mm-hmm. That, to me, definitely enhances the game. It takes something that I already own and it extends it. And that's what I'm saying about Undercity or these other things. You have a useful tool like No Quarter, which they make money off of. Use that product to enhance what you already have, And I don't feel like we'll need things like, I mean, to this day, something that really bothers me is like Thunderdome. Thunderdome was a player-created scenario, which is amazingly fun, and I believe, and I have no doubts that if Privateer Press approached whomever was the original creator, whatever, that they could put something out there. You know what I'm saying? Why focus on, like, as I said, Colossal Wrestling? I love wrestling, but Colossal Wrestling right now sounds like absolutely no fun. Like, I could care less. And I just think, like, if they could just take and, push along more little fun things that go into already what we're playing, like scenarios and such, I think that would be much better received. Because to me, especially with grind, you're not just time thing where you're taking a few extra models and you're just using them all together. No, you're creating a full new team, putting numbers on them, trying to list them up, and I just don't feel...
Oh, that's not going to happen. I'm going to let you know that right now.
Yeah, I don't see too many people doing that with their models.
People are literally going to just take the models that they have. You're going to have grind teams that are going to be, a mismatch of different armies and different bases and stuff like that. They're not going... There's nobody... I shouldn't say nobody. Somebody will. I doubt there's going to be a large population of people who are going to go out and buy an actual grind team. They're just going to use the models they already have.
That's actually what the new No Quarter Painting Challenge is creating a full team. I think it's 7,500 crowns of grind models.
That's great for the painting challenge, but the painting community isn't the majority community in Warmachine. Go to any tournament and you can see that.
Yeah, the painting community likes to torture themselves sometimes by making these.
They do just some amazing stuff. But
they do. It's intense.
I don't.
As I said, I'm definitely interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how it plays out. I worry that Privateer Press might be spreading themselves a little too thin, but it's not my company. It's not my call. So, but I would like to turn this on to the listeners. If you could take one Privateer Press side project, excluding Warmachine, Hordes, and IKRPG, and you want Privateer Press to give more attention to it, which one of these side IPs would you want them to participate in? Or would you rather them just not? You want them to focus solely on Warmachine and Hordes and forget everything else?
All right, I like it. So is that about a cast?
I'm good.
It feels like it.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of Turn Extension. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Bye.